Hello and welcome to Lunchtime Politics, reaching you live from our global headquarters here in the nation's commercial nerve center, Lagos. I'm Jeffrey Uzongo. Here's what's coming up on the program right now. Embattled Deputy Governor of Edo State Philip Shaibu impeached by the State House of Assembly following allegations of misconduct against the state's #2 citizen, as Governor Obaseki nominates 38-year-old Omobile Marvelous Godwins as new deputy governor. Swearing in is underway. Lagos High Court orders remand of former governor of the Central Bank, Godwins in custody of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission till Thursday, April the 11th, over allegations of financial infraction. Presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Mr. Peter Obi, says he is not leaving the party despite the leadership crisis causing division among members. There's a lot going on in the polity and it's happening in quick succession. So our first port of call on the program today is the impeachment of embattled Deputy Governor of Edo State, Mr. Philip Shaibu, by the State House of Assembly over allegations of misconduct bordering on perjury and leaking of government secrets. He was impeached during today's plenary in Benin City, the Edo State capital, following the adoption of a report of a 7-man committee set up to investigate allegations of misconduct against the Deputy Governor, a panel that Mr. Shaibu or his legal team are reported not to have honored with an appearance. The move is a culmination of a political impasse between Deputy Governor Philip Shaibu and his principal, Godwins Obaseki, over succession of the state's #1 seat. Meanwhile, 38-year-old Omobile Marvelous Godwins has now been nominated as the new deputy governor, with his swearing-in underway. Guests arrive, as you can see on your screen, at the festival hall of the Edo State Government House for the swearing-in ceremony of a new deputy governor. So you see him shaking hands with some of the traditional rulers. Mr. Godwins, from what we know, holds a Bachelor of Science degree in Electrical and Electronic Engineering. He has a 12-year experience in the oil and gas sector. So Philip Shaibu out, Omobile Godwins in as the new deputy governor. In just a moment, they will be swearing him in as the new deputy governor of Edo State. It's politics playing out, and you can see how things can change as quickly as they come. And let's tell you that the former Central Bank Governor, Godwins, will be spending time in the EFCC custody till Thursday, April the 11th, after the Lagos State High Court ordered him to be remanded in custody of the anti-graft agency pending a bail application over a 26-count charge of alleged abuse of office and allocation of billions of United States dollars. On Thursday, the court will give ruling on a bail application sought by Mr. Emefiele and his co-defendant, Henry Omoile, who will be remanded in Ikoyi prison. The court ordered the remand of both men after listening to the bail application filed by their counsel, Mr. Lebi Lawal. In asking for Mr. Emefiele's bail, the counsel had told the court to grant Mr. Emefiele bail on self-recognizance pending the hearing and determination of a case, or on the most liberal terms, bail terms, I should say. The counsel also asked the court to grant the second defendant bail on the most liberal terms. The EFCC counsel and the senior advocate of Nigeria, Mr. Rotimi Oyedepo, in his response, did not oppose the request for the bail. He only asked the court to exercise its discretion, which the court did in granting him, by keeping him in the custody of the EFCC till Thursday. The EFCC had alleged, among other things, that Mr. Emefiele directed to be done in abuse of authority of his office as governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria and arbitrary acts, to wit, allocating foreign exchange in the aggregate sum of $2.1 billion without bids, which act is prejudicial to the rights of Nigerians. Let's still stay in the court now that Justice Emeka Nwite of the Federal High Court Abuja has ruled that Tigran Gambarian, the second defendant in the proposed arraignment of Binance Holdings Limited and its two top officials and allegations bordering on tax evasion and money laundering by the federal government, be arraigned and be served the charge on behalf of the company, being certified agent of the company within jurisdiction. Justice Nwite gave the ruling following the argument on the last adjourned date that Tigran cannot be arraigned and cannot receive service on behalf of Binance Company. The court notes that the defendant had deposed to an affidavit before the court on April the 26, 2024, that he and Nadeem Anjarwalla, who is at large, were invited into Nigeria as representative for a meeting with the federal government as representatives of Binance, having been appointed as an official of the company since September 2021. According to the court, there cannot be a better service on the charge of the company than through the second defendant, who has been identified as an agent of Binance within jurisdiction. The court therefore moved that Mr. Tigran be arraigned and the cause be read to him, and where the charge affects the first defendant, a plea of not guilty be entered on its behalf. The 5-count charge bordering on money laundering was, however, read to the second defendant, and he pleaded not guilty to the charge. Lots of things happening in our courts as well. Let's move on now to other stories where the presidential candidate of the Labour Party at the 2023 general election, Mr. Peter Obi, has refuted rumor of him leaving the party despite the internal crisis rocking that party. While commissioning a borehole at the Pantami Ship Market in Gombe State, Mr. Obi hopes for a peaceful resolution of all issues concerning the Labour Party. He's also said that the issue of electricity tariff, it can be increased for the well-to-do, while it can be subsidized for the not well-to-do.
The atmosphere is electric as residents of Pantami community welcome the 2023 Labour Party presidential candidate Peter Obi to the Pantami Ship Market in Gombe State. Identifying the need for Pantami Ship Market to have water for humans and animal consumption, he's donating this borehole and rams to the Muslim faithful.
Salah is just by the corner, so you could see that it's going to be difficult for everybody, especially families, to celebrate. And this is what we are seeing, that things have doubled, things have tripled. It makes even the poor more difficult to live in our society.
Refuting rumors of him dumping the Labour Party, Mr. Obi explains that he stands for peaceful resolution of issues in the party and for the welfare of Nigerians.
No, there's no such thing. I'm for peace. I like peace. I believe that we are one. We are one people. Our concentration should be on peace. And I believe we will resolve all situations.
The 2023 Labour Party presidential flag bearer also supports 100 families with Salah rams, while expressing his concerns about the high cost of living, a gesture which attracted reactions.
We're all equal under God, and who believes in honoring every religion without honoring one above the other. So for him to do this in the period of Ramadan, he's recognizing the fact that our Muslim brothers and sisters are fasting, and he wants to identify with them as a kind of a solidarity at this period, and also to show that he is not a religious bigot.
Mr. Peter Obi says that all he's been doing is to see that his message of a better Nigeria resonates amongst all citizens.
The responsibility on our shoulders on the show is basically to track all that's happening in the polity, and that's exactly what we try to do. So if you just joined in or tuned in, there's a new deputy governor about to be sworn in Edo State. Philip Shaibu, the deputy governor, has now been impeached following allegations of misconduct. And Mr. Mobile Godwins, that's his name, 38-year-old, will be sworn in any moment from now. We understand people are arriving at the hall right there at the government house. So that is the biggest political story, biggest news right now coming out from Edo State at the moment. As it continues to unfold, we'll bring you details of all of that as much as possible, either on the show or later in our other bulletins right here on Channels Television. But we'll switch gears now to what we started on Friday. There's been a conversation and some kind of a division within the ranks and file of the New Nigeria People's Party. Two groups are holding sway, claiming leadership and ownership of the party. We did speak to two persons last week who say they are publicity secretaries of the party. And today, we're going to continue that conversation because one of the issues was that a group loyal to Anegbunam, the founder of the party, had kicked against a national convention that was to be organized by the other group loyal to the Kwankwasia group. That's Robiu Kwankwaso, the senator that was suspended by the Anegbunam group, as well as the governor, Abba Yusuf of Kano State. We're being joined in the program by the Kano State Chief Press Secretary, Mr. Sanusi Dawakin. He joins us from our Kano studios. Mr. Dawakin Tofa, thank you so much for coming on the program.
Thank you very much for having me.
So let's get straight to how things played out. Did the convention hold and how did they play out?
Well, I'm not the right authority to speak on the party, especially at the national level. But nonetheless, the convention has happened last Saturday, which was very successful, and some national officers were replaced based on the convention. And before the convention, the party has National Executive Council meeting on Friday, and a lot of issues were sorted out. This followed by the convention on Saturday, and issues were raised and adopted, and permission were done based on the constitution of the party. In fact, the constitution of the party has been reviewed and adopted during the convention, which affects the logo of the party from a basket of fruits now to wide red book and graduation gown. And also the motto and slogan of the party has also relatively changed from NNPP, New Nigeria, to reflect NNPP, New Nigeria, Education for All. This signifies the emphasis of our party that gave to education, because education is the topmost priority of our agenda.
So let's now get to the issue that I'm sure you're competent to speak on, which I'm sure this is what you're talking about. The loggerhead, the seeming unending disagreement that has ensued between the incumbent governor, Abba Yusuf, and his predecessor, now chairman of the All Progressives Congress, Mr. Abdullahi Ganduje, over this probe panel that's been set up over this $200,000 kickback allegation against him. So walk us through what that situation is at the moment, besides what we know.
Well, we're not proving Ganduje because he's the acting national chairman of the APC. Rather, he's being proved simply because we have to fulfill the campaign promises. We promise Kano people that whatever belongs to them is going to be restored back to them if we're able to get to the Kano government house. So this is the right time after the legal battle we experienced in the last 8 months. And it's very important at this time to ensure that mechanisms are put in place to ensure the safety of resources of Kano people that were previously misappropriated or vandalized or siphoned by the previous administration. The issues were many. First, His Excellency has set up the 2 commissions of inquiries led by competent judges of the state high courts. And the first one is to look on the issues related to misappropriated public properties and assets, which has been misappropriated by the previous administration, mostly in Kano, Kaduna, Lagos, and Abuja. And also, the second commission of inquiry is to look after political violence and missing persons. Why we set up this political violence, and many people will remember what happened in 2019 when a lot of unsuspecting citizens of Kano were disenfranchised from their right to vote in so many polling units during the inconclusive election, and also many of them were maimed, killed, and injured unnecessarily when Ganduje was the governor of Kano State. If we allow this kind of trend to continue in states like Kano that are politically sensitive, I am very sure there will come a time when elections cannot be conducted in states like Kano. So therefore, the governor is taking measures to ensure safety and security of lives and properties of people, especially during election. And if we set this first, others will emulate. I'm sure other states will emulate the good gesture for setting up this kind of committees by His Excellency, so that we can sanitize the polity and we can ensure people can come out to exercise their civic right during the election processes.
So some people may argue that if the Abba Yusuf administration really indeed wants to sanitize the system and get back the commonwealth of the people that were allegedly stolen by previous administrations, it should go back as much as possible. Why is Mr. Kwankwaso not also listed? Is there nothing against him?
Well, the administration of Engineer Abba Kabir Yusuf decided to prove only the immediate past administration. Why?
And that's why we're asking why.
The administration we inherited, and it's the one close by. If you take the other layers of previous administration of Konkoso and Shekarau, they are too far to remember some of the issues. But the last 8 years, where critical, dangerous issues happened, both financially and insecurity-wise, are supposed to be proven beyond reasonable doubt. So therefore, we don't want to take it too far. It's supposed to be the immediate past administration, because it's the administration that we watch closely and it's the administration we took over from. So, which gave us the legitimacy and also the ability to publicly scrutinize and also be able to find a lasting solution on the very basic crisis that happened within the state.
Mr. Tofa, government records as far as 1960 can be accessed. That's the truth, because there are records. So saying that you cannot go as far as 1999, maybe go down to Shekarau, go down to Kwankwaso, is almost an excuse. It's almost an excuse that cannot be tenable, because if you want to probe, there are things you will check. All of these are allegations. So is it indeed that you are not interested in going far back, or this is just a proxy war between Ganduje and Kwankwaso being carried out by Yusuf?
Well, it's true, records are accessible and available to the government, at the government's disposal. But what we are trying to show to the public is that if you go far, then you may lose attention to the critical issues that you want to investigate. If you look at some of these issues of missing persons, in the last 8 years, a lot of Kano children were missing, and some of them were found in different states of Nigeria, and then the Ganduje administration could not take any cogent action to ensure that those children were given the right treatment, and then the remaining ones that are still missing have not been able to recover at the moment. So therefore, there are critical issues that concerns only Ganduje's administration in the last 8 years. If you take the issue of dollar video, has there been any issue of dollar video within the country, not only in Kano, other than during the Ganduje's administration? Certainly the answer is no. So therefore, we are checking it. We're not just after Ganduje, or we're not just after APC. These issues that happened within the last few years are what we are after to prove. Why? Because Kano people are in need of answers to some of the problems that happened. We're asking EFCC particularly to make available the forensic report of the agency that happened in 2018. We believe there have been insinuations that EFCC went to London and then they were able to have a forensic firm which analyzed critically the Ganduje's dollar video. So therefore, we want to know the report. At least the Kano people or Nigerians need to know what exactly happened on that video. Is the video genuine? Is it fake? Whatever. The EFCC, we believe, has that report, and we want them to please kind of make it available for public consumption. These are the issues that happen only within Ganduje. So we don't want to be distracted by investigations, by proof, by whatever, but it's very important at this time to prove the immediate part administration simply because there are issues that need to be answered.
And so after all of this, what happens? What's the end game in all of this investigation? What will be the... I don't want to use the word deliverable. It's not going to be appropriate. What's the end game at the end of it? You want him jailed? You want him imprisoned? What exactly are you aiming at as a government?
Well, we set up a goal for this investigation, and that goal, the first one, is actually to have any property belonging or resources belonging to Kano State people be restored back to them. That's the main aim for this proof. And the essence is that public properties have been siphoned and given or allocated to serve by Ganduje or family members or cronies. For example, there is a hospital which we restored recently. It's worth 6 billion naira. It's a pediatric hospital, the first of its kind in northern Nigeria. It was given to a crony of Ganduje in the previous administration at the cost of 6 million naira. You can look at the disparity in the cost. So His Excellency was able to restore that hospital, renovate it, and then it's now giving services to patients in Kano. So the primary objective of this investigation and setting up the two panels is to restore the resources that have gone somehow, somewhere, misappropriated by Ganduje's administration. And the second objective on the second inquiry is to ensure safety of people, especially during campaigns and during elections, because Kano has been bedeviled with a massive political thuggery which is fueled and promoted by Ganduje's administration. And soon, after the committee's work, after the Commission of Inquiry's work, we will make available the names of the thugs that have been vandalizing
all right, Mr. Dawakin,
people's property in Kano, that have been maiming people in Kano. And also we will make available the sponsors of those criminals.
Mr. Dawakin Tofa, a lot of allegations against former Governor Abdullahi Ganduje, who is the chairman of the APC at the moment, and this ongoing battle. Let's see how it plays out, which is why I needed to ask you what the end game is, and you've enumerated them, and we will see how it plays out at the end of the day. Sanusi Dawakin Tofa is the Chief Press Secretary to the Kano State Governor. Thank you so much for coming on the program.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Now, let's move on to other stories. 3 weeks after the killing of 17 soldiers in Okwama, Delta State, suspected terrorists have ambushed a military formation in Magza, a community along Damaturu Biu Road in Borno State, killing another Army lieutenant. A statement by the Defense Headquarters says the officer was killed while 4 other military personnel were wounded during an ambush by terrorists in Borno State on Friday. It, however, says 6 of the terrorists were also killed during the bloody encounter. According to the statement by the Director, Defense Media Operations, Major General Buba Edward, the wounded personnel are currently receiving treatment at the hospital. And one of the governorship aspirants of the All Progressives Congress in Ondo State, Senator Jimo Ibrahim, is intensifying his efforts towards winning the party's ticket by equipping his campaign supervisors with a list of APC members in all the 203 political wards in the state. According to the senator, the strategy is deployed by the campaign organization to mobilize party members to vote for him in the April the 20th, 2024 APC governorship primary election in the state. The meeting was held in Akure, the Ondo State capital. Well, we did tell you that Mr. Philip Shaibu has been impeached by the Edo State House of Assembly, and a new gentleman, 38-year-old Omobayo Marvelous Godwins, has now been nominated as the new deputy governor. His swearing in is underway, but Mr. Philip Shaibu has responded to that impeachment saga this morning. Let's take a listen.
My good people of Edo State, I thank you all for standing by me under these troubling circumstances as the Deputy Governor of Edo State. It is with heavy heart, yet a resolute spirit, that I come before you to address the recent events that have unfolded within our dear state. I denounce in strongest terms the illegal impeachment by the Edo State House of Assembly over trumped-up charges. This is not just an attack on me as an individual, but on the very democratic principle that we hold there. It is a dangerous descent into dictatorship and a threat to the foundation of our democracy. Let it be clear that this impeachment was hushed because of my ambition to contest the Edo State 2024 governorship election under the People's Democratic Party, PDP, an ambition that is a legal right to all citizens of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. It's a sad reality that in our political landscape, ambition is met with resistance, and those in power seek to silence opposition through illegitimate means. I have dedicated my life to serving the good people of Edo State with integrity and honesty. I have worked tirelessly to improve the life of our citizens. I've upheld the values of democracy and justice, and yet, in return, I am faced with baseless accusations and a blatant disregard for due process and rule of law. The allegations brought against me are nothing more than a smokescreen to conceal the true motive behind this impeachment. It's a flagrant abuse of power and a betrayal of the trust that the people of Edo have placed in their elected officials. We refuse to stay inactive while our democratic institutions manipulate and exploit for personal gain. We will fight this injustice with every ounce of strength in our being for the sake of the people of Edo State and the future of democracy. I call upon all well-meaning citizens of Edo, and indeed all Nigerians who believe in the principle of democracy and justice, to stand with us in this moment of crisis. We cannot allow tyranny and oppression to take roots in our society. We must resist the forces that seek to undermine our freedom and trample upon our rights. To the members of Edo State House of Assembly who have chosen to forsake their oath of office and participate in this charade, I say this: history will judge harshly for your betrayal of the people who elected you to represent their interests. But know this: you do not have the power to silence the voice of justice and truth. I call upon the judiciary and all relevant authorities to intervene and uphold the principles of justice and fairness. Let the truth prevail over lies.
That's the former Deputy Governor of Edo State, Mr. Philip Shaibu, in his response to the impeachment that took place earlier today. And of course, he spoke about dangerous descent to dictatorship and all of that. So that's all on the program. Thank you so much. We're going to keep watching what's happening in Edo State and bring you the update in our subsequent bulletin. I thank you for your time and, of course, your usual company. I'm Jeffrey Uzoma. You've been served on Lunchtime Politics.